Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, my name's Riskrunner, your host here on this Destiny 2 video, and today we're going to be taking a look at a fun little build that I like to call the Lord of Thunder. This is a PvE Warlock build that is designed around having as much arc and blue flashes on your screen as possible. Specifically, this build uses the Sentient Arc Souls from Getaway Artist and the Superconductor from Riskrunner, as well as many other things to cause a lot of blue. This is a fun and thematic build. This is not an endgame viable build. However, I've made a lot of in-depth optimizations to make this thematic and fun build as effective as possible. If you like the style of this video, check out my other builds that I do on this channel. I do a lot of builds that are actually endgame viable for all of the different classes for both of the modes, so check out the playlist on my channel for more. Throughout the video, you'll be seeing pictures of a build doc that I created that's fully public for you guys to use. All you have to do to get it is just head over to my Discord, linked in the description down below, and head over to the channel called #SpreadsheetsDocs. And around the date that this video came out in, you'll be able to find a link or a download to this doc. Moving on, let's go ahead and get into the specs of this build. For the class and subclass, we're using a Warlock Arc Attunement of Elements. Very specific choice on this because of the Arc Souls in Attunement of Elements. I'll talk about that a little bit later. I personally like to use Pulse Grenade, Healing Rift, and Burst Glide. Pulse Grenade's actually a very specific choice as well. For the weapons, I use Perfect Paradox, Riskrunner, and Wendigo. The main idea here is that you should be using Riskrunner because it has a lot of electricity and fun stuff. You should be using a Demolitionist special, so a weapon that is special ammo that has Demolitionist perk, which my Perfect Paradox does. You can alternatively use the Thunderlord in the Lord of Thunder build if you want it to be more thematic for the name's sake. However, I find the Riskrunner to just be a more effective tool. And yes, I'm comparing the Riskrunner to the Recluse right now, which is my second recommendation. It's just the Riskrunner with the electricity flying everywhere, it just fits better in my opinion. Moving on to the armor section, probably the most intensive part of any build, especially with these later few seasons in Destiny 2. And as I mentioned before, I optimized the absolute living heck out of this so that almost every single point is being used for something useful to this build. I'm not going to go over every single thing. It's pretty straightforward why certain things are being used. For example, you need solar armor for SMGs, you need arc armor for shotguns, you need void armor for stacks on stacks. It should be pretty straightforward. For the seasonal mods and the charge with light, I make charge with light with taking charge, so that's orbs of light pickup. I get 2 every time with stacks on stacks, and I use it with energy converter, where every time you use your grenade, which includes using it with Getaway Artist, you convert that into super energy, which is not a significant amount of super energy, but it is for free, and you basically would be doing it anyways. And you wouldn't be a Lord of Thunder if you didn't break out the Palpatine hands all the time. Again, not a great super in PvE, but for medium PvE, it's fine. Moving on to the gameplay of this build, explaining the certain reasons why we're doing certain things, what we're supposed to be doing with them, and how best to use them the most effective way possible. So, as I said before, there are a lot of different intersecting parts of this build that collaborate with each other to create the most number of blue flashes possible. The main strategy of this build is to get your Sentient Arc Souls by charging your grenade. This auto turret will stay on your shoulder and automatically shoot anything in front of you, adding to your damage output. And this can be refreshed either by charging your grenade again or from your Rift's Arc Soul, which are usually regular Arc Souls, but if you have a Sentient Arc Soul on your shoulder, it will instead refresh that up to 20 seconds, which is why we're using Attunement of Elements, because it has Arc Soul as part of the Rift mechanic that refreshes the better version. And if you don't have your grenade, make sure you're using your Demolitionist special ammo weapon to get your grenade back quickly. And if you didn't know, Demolitionist gives you 10% back for your grenade if using a primary weapon and 20% back if using a special or a heavy. And that's why I recommend a special with Demolitionist. And it really fits well with Riskrunner being our primary ammo exotic. Which is a great segue into the next part. Your exotic weapon, Riskrunner, is the crux of your Lightning Carnage, chaining lightning and resisting 50% of all arc damage after taking any amount of arc damage. This resistance and lightning chaining capabilities can also be activated by hitting yourself with your own arc grenade, where pulse grenades actually do the least damage to you, and that is why I specifically recommend pulse grenades. Now, even though you're going to be using a lot of your grenades to charge that Sentient Arc Soul on your shoulder, you're going to have a lot more grenades than you think because of that Rift mechanic giving your Arc Soul back, and the Demolitionist weapons just giving you your grenade energy back, and your melee also giving you your grenade energy back. There's a lot of things in your favor here, so you're gonna have plenty of grenades. And there's a whole bunch of other miscellaneous things that all work together in this build. Like I mentioned before, your charge charge. Melee gives you ability energy for your super, your melee, your grenade. You charge your rift faster with your allies nearby, which is important for getting more Arc Souls. Having your shotgun with major spec is going to be very important, as you're most likely going to be using it to kill majors. There's a whole lot of things in this build. Again, this is not a super serious build, so I'm not going to go over every little bitty part of it. And the last thing I'll mention is going to be the alternatives. I have mentioned a few along the way, like using Thunderlord. If you think the Lord of Thunder should be using a Thunderlord, I don't know why. For your special weapon, make sure you're having Demolitionist. As long as you have that, doesn't matter what you're using. And for your exotic armor and subclass, you can change that over to Crown of Tempest and Attunement and Control if you want a better performing PvE build. And I've mentioned this many times, the Crown of Tempest is an amazing neutral game, gives you lots of grenades, melees, super powered supers, and even though it doesn't power up and make your super last longer for Chaos Reach, it is still an amazing super to have and an amazing exotic to improve your neutral game. In this particular iteration, I just really wanted to put Getaway Artist in a build because it is a lot of fun to use and it's really cool. Anyways, that is going to be pretty much the end of the video. Again, this is not an end game build, but it is a bit of fun. So if you're playing some medium PvE, trying to grind out some moments of triumphs or doing some raids that you find to be easy, break this out. It is a lot of fun. And let me tell you, every time I used it, I was hearing in my head, thunder, dun, 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 thunder. That's probably not how the song goes, but yeah, don't at me, man. I'm not good with music. If you like this kind of video or this build style, which is very fun and silly, let me know in the comments down below, and of course, like the video, because that really does help out. But yeah, my name's been Riskrunner, and I'll see you guys on the next one.